hard to criticize the move a5 because it looks so natural to push the pawn. By the way, I want to draw our attention to the game between Ivan Saric and Fabi, because when we did leave it, we just thought, okay, it's a nice, comfortable position for Ivan. He's a pawn up, but that's not the way the cookie crumbled. After h4, c5, c4, d4, rook f4, still looks like everything is going Ivan's way, and we reached this position when suddenly, and I think quite shockingly, h6 was essayed. And after takes on h6, rook takes h6,
and
rook
here,
takes g5. Yes.
without rook g5, white looks fantastic.
Right, exactly. You just you get this position in your mind, and you think to yourself, well, I'm just killing it. The knight is going to come to d3. I'm a pawn up. You know, king will everything. I mean, I've got everything.
Without hesitation, Fabi goes rook takes
g5, sacrificing an exchange, and suddenly, with this very active rook, I've got ideas of a4.
Who would you rather be here?
The clock times?
7 minutes for Fabi and 10 for Ivan.
I was hoping that Fabi might have a little bit of a time edge too. I think I'd rather be black. I mean, I just feel like the initiative, you know, you get so jolted when you see this move, rook takes g5, right? You're just really thrown backwards. And by the way, he did not play a4 and bishop a6 and capturing this pawn on c4. He played simple chess.
Just wants to pick up another pawn.
Exactly. Rook c3.
Knight c1 is such an ugly move.
And he didn't want to play it. He did play king e2, so inviting rook takes b3. And Miro, jump in on this one, because I'm thinking the move rook takes g5 really turned the tables.
Yeah, you're right, you are, Yasser. And if not for rook g5, you're absolutely right in this position, right after g5. If not for rook g5, you might as well resign.
Exactly.
Okay, I will not go back, because I have to say that Saric was completely winning at some point, or
right,
close to being completely winning. But the current position is super interesting, because after king e2, as unclimatic as it is, you have to go rook c2 according to computer and repeat.
Really?
And yeah, and the problem is, I mean, the fun starts a bit later. Like if you take on b3,
which is
for
what
now
you want to do.
do not have kind of powerful enough threats. You do have some threats, but they're not enough. So white goes rook f1. And then if you're inventive, you go king e8. So now if rook takes f7, you'll take on d3.
Right.
And it works for you. And then white has some g6, pawn takes, rook h4. And still it's closer to a draw, but you might regret not taking a draw, you know. Well, if rooks penetrate, like rook h8, rook h7. So it's a little bit sad, and I believe Fabi will never take it. By the way, he played bishop g2, so he's not playing for a draw. After which, according to computer, well, it once again shifts in white's favor. But the game goes on, and anything can happen.
Instead of the move rook to c3, which again it looks very, very attractive, a4.
Yeah, but a4 turns out b4 is very strong, because if white ever gets to take the d4 pawn, he solves a lot of his issues, right?
I wanted bishop a6. Yeah. I was so myopically focused on bishop a6. I forgot that you could play b5 as well.
After bishop g2, interestingly, the computer still recommends b4.
Just sacrifice
and this
the
is
pawn.
this is how it claims that white is still better. And the line would be something like a, b, a, b. Let's just get to the end of the line and see how realistic white's chance is going to be. So captures on c5, knight c5.
Right.
And yeah, even this one, I would not be 100% sure that black is safe. It looks very close to be a fortress, but not a fortress yet.
Exactly. Not a fortress yet.
And I got some updates that Anand is winning again. Well,
he was better.
Yes.
Yeah, we thought he was seriously better, but
then it was
really
more close to equal in the end game, but now looks like
after
Get chances
bishop b,
again.
yeah, when we left it at bishop b4 with ideas of bishop to c3 and rook to d1. We want to take this pawn on b5, obviously. b4, rook, h3. And
You
it's
just play rook c4 now?
rook to c4. Just defending the pawn.
Well, that's what we heard from.
And knight to c2. Give me the pawn. I'm trying to induce you to
How do
play
we
the move
keep that
b3.
pawn? Yeah, b3, just go back knight d4, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Can I try rook c6 here?
And if I...
Rook takes c2.
Oh.
I'm not mated.
Yes, you're
Yes.
not mated, but the two knights versus the rook with all the pawns on one side of the board, that should be winning for the knights, although it's not, a layup. And Miro, over to you. How is our tournament leader doing?
Well, very impressive. He might be, he might be on 100% after today's day. So c4, the move that I was suggesting with the help of my little silicon friend, was not played.
No.
Instead, he went with rook a7 and another stage of maneuvering, rook a to b7, so doubles on the b file. And then basically what white did, he has, so bishop g5 first, bishop g7. And here, I wonder if white would have gone bishop h6. Would black accept the draw? We never know, because Richie was very aggressive, and he has done Duda's job pretty much. He went f5 to open the position out. And once again, it turns out it's, well, you didn't want to open the position. Rook b4 is very strong, kind of disrupting all the coordination possible. Queen g3, knight e5, and you can feel that black pieces start to jump, and the center is open, and then you have knight on d1, and both rooks stuck on the a file. Bishop e8, and then you have to make uglier and uglier moves just to keep your position together. Yeah, like if you have to play bishop e2, once again, it's not the reason you've played f5 a few moves earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah, and now something like rook e8, bringing the rook over the e file, and yeah, it looks critical for white. Computer is very harsh. It's almost +2 for black.
Wow.
Wow. +2. Wouldn't have imagined that.
But I think the fun begins now, since they are both approaching blitz time control, 5 minutes on the clock. For both of them.
For both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a strange position because both sides need to be so accurate. It's not easy with 5 minutes on the clock.
No, it's not. And those 5 minutes, boy, I tell you, when you're down to your last 5 minutes, you feel like you're under constant pressure. By the way, it moves c to c3.
So Duda didn't play rook e8 as Miro suggested. He played queen d7.
7, yeah. And I'm assuming the rook is just going to drop back to
Well, then white has d4 and knight's dropped on e5. Was queen d7 a blunder? Because knight has nowhere to go.
I didn't see that
And
coming
Richard
at all.
immediately spotted it, played c3.
I didn't see that at all.
Let's check with Miro.
Queen, yeah,
Yeah,
Miro,
it is.
queen.
It is. It was. It was a blunder. And, well, luckily for him, he has some time to stop to realize that the knight is about to get trapped, because according to the machine, black still retains a slight advantage by going rook g4 and sacrificing the exchange. But first you have to understand, or rather comfort yourself with the idea, yes, I messed up a little bit, which is very hard during the rapid game, right? And then find this rook g4, and then after bishop takes, knight takes, white pieces are still so awkward that black is slightly better, but not nearly as much as he used to be.
So, Miro, I'm confused. Why isn't d4 still trapping the knight here?
Why is d4 not trapping the knight here? Because queen takes f5 and bishop on g5 is hanging. Yeah, so that's why. And computer is so relaxed that after, over here, after you capture on g6, for instance, it takes with the pawn. It's really sure that this knight is not getting trapped.
Wow.
Okay, so it shifts, back and forth. And let me, since I'm stealing the show, let me inform you that Magnus blew all of his advantage away.
Really?
Yes, look, I mean, a5, a4, remember we were talking this
Right.
one, and then I think there was one tiny moment. After rook a6, queen b4, according to machine, would still keep the advantage, and queen b3, he has, well, I'm speculating, of course, but apparently he has blundered this funny-looking move, knight to c5, and then if you trade, you inevitably lose the a-pawn.
Right.
So he went with queen to b4, and now you probably don't want to take because the knight is very awkward, right? And rook e8 just wins according to machine once again. But Nepo played it very, very precise from now on. So queen d5, he uses the activity of the pieces.
Right.
Well, and black still cannot establish the coordination. a3, pawn seemingly survives. Knight b3, queen c3, queen d6. And the pawn is gone. Check. Here, bishop b2. Pawn is still here, but, few more moves. And I'd be optimistic about white's chances. I mean,
He
the
did play
queen clearly
queen.
got stuck, right?
He did play queen b4, by
Queen
the way.
b4 is one of the moves. Yeah, and then, in fact, perhaps the simplest move, because you can't really extract all the stuff from the corner. If you go queen a2, he just takes on b2.
And
Queen takes,
on b3.
queen takes, pawn takes, and rook b6. Only but sufficient move, rook b6. And it's
Right.
And I must say, this
Slides
almost
out.
never happens, but Nepo's in time trouble. Nepo has far less time than Magnus.
and that's why he plays a good game. He just has to think.
He has 1 minute against 8 minutes.
Wow.
But yeah, he played great, very accurately.
By the way, Duda did not play the move rook g4 against Richie. He dropped his rook back to b6, and Richie said, okay, but wait a minute. What about d3, d4? Trapping the knight.
Is he up a clear piece now? For a pawn. What's the best way to give up that piece?
Well, exactly.
There is
If
no
I-
best way, I'm afraid.
If I take knight g4, right? Knight
I can
e4.
just take it, right? F1's protected, so.
F1 is protected.
A slightly awkward placement of pieces for white, but an extra piece.
It's temporary, right?
Yeah.
Because queen takes, you do have bishop f3. Oy, oy, oy. Oy, oy, oy. Bishop
Yeah,
f3.
looking
Yeah, I mean, Duda did not find the move rook g4, and he's currently looking at a lost piece. And Vichy? How is
Vish is
Vichy?
doing really well in the rook ending.
Yeah, he's a pawn up.
He's a
and
pawn up, and he got his other pawn on h4,
Wow.
which is a brilliant
Achievement.
achievement, yes.
Exactly. And king to Yad. And Constantine is down to
28 seconds.
the 8 minutes.
Yes.
So Vichy in cruise control. How is Fabi doing? Fabi's trying to set up a fortress, which he may or may not achieve.
This might be a very long game.
Yeah, and definitely a 2-result game for Ivan, as he enjoys being an exchange
And
to the
we
good.
should mention how Ivan is an underdog in this tournament. He's doing great. 2 draws, one of them against Magnus Carlsen.
Where we
He
think
had a brilliant geometry there.
Yeah, exactly. Could have won the game easily.
And now against Fabi, playing for
he-
2 results.
Exactly. By the way, as you started the show there, Mira, one of the things you were showing is that we have 5-time world champion Magnus Carlsen, 5-time world champion Vichy Anand, 5-time Romanian champion Constantine, 2-time champion Ivan Saric. I mean, we were on the 5s, 3 5s. We're doing very, very well. 5-time. And then a 5-time
The wild
Romanian
card.
champions. And then only 2 go away. Only 2 from Ivan Saric.
But Mira also mentioned that Saric has a win in a classical game against Magnus, which very few people in the world do.
That is for sure. Okay.
Let's check
This
with
game-
Ali Reza.
Exactly. Versus
Looking like a
Gukesh.
draw.
We thought so. and we were kind of saying that it's still. Oh, he did not play, by the way.
Rook c2.
Yeah, he didn't play rook c2. He went rook h5 right away. And okay, well, now white is definitely doing well.
But at the same time, we don't have enough pawns to push.
Yeah, we'd like more, right?
Because I
Hold
think rook
on.
d7 will just
What happens?
take and rook d6.
What are you planning?
Take and rook d6.
And then I've got a check,
And
right?
king goes up. Definitely not down. King
King
g6.
goes to g6. Wow.
Oh.
By the way, we do have a draw in the game between Nepo and Magnus. And Nepo's like, what am I doing with the white pieces? Why are you happy about your king on g6 here? After, for example, f4?
Oh, I just thought, how does white improve? And then you can't cross the d file. Or if I just stay rook d1, rook d6.
Right. Interesting. So even though I've got this pass pawn on d7,
I guess at some point you'll sacrifice d8 and take a7 and try to win
sure.
a different endgame.
Okay, but that's not so clear at all. Let's jump to the game of Richie for a second, because
It's taking down the tournament leader.
exactly when we left it, we were curious to see what Duda was going to do to save his knight on d4, on e5 after the move d4. Rook to b3, queen takes. So white is the one winning material, but bishop takes e5, and
I think he can even take rook takes e4 now.
I was about to say we could even grab this guy, right?
We don't have to, we can just play bishop f4, but rook e4 looks nice.
Rook e4, well, anything that will bring about
H takes g. We have 3 pieces
for two.
for a rook and 2 pawns. That
Not
should be
enough.
more than enough.
Yeah, 3 pieces will easily dominate. So rook takes e4 we think is winning.
He played queen f2.
f2. Whoa. So I'm still
I mean,
trying to
currently
count
he's up
the
a full
material.
piece
Just
for 1 pawn, right? Yes, piece for 1 pawn. And he's threatening the bishop on e4 and also maybe bishop c4. And Duda just made a move with 1 second.
1 second on his clock. Oh my gosh. I mean, they must go to some training school where they learn to press the clock with a second. Bishop c4, rook takes. I just love the way Duda just snapped off the move. Rook, his queen's hanging, his rook is hanging, and rook takes b2.
So
whack.
let's do the math. Bishop e6, rook
Yes.
takes f2,
Rook takes f2.
take back the rook, then take on a4. How many pieces are hanging?
Oh, take on a4. Or I thought you were going to take
Well,
on e6.
I want to take a bigger piece.
And Vichy won against Constantine. Sorry, you wanted to do what?
Take on a4,
Take on a4. And I'll take on f7.
king g7,
King g7.
because he can't take knight